Hello, welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, well then I bid thee welcome. This video sort of follows on from an earlier video I made in relation to the moon and timing, because it also has timing as a theme. And originally I did the two videos as one, but they took forever to upload and I gave up because I'm being such a technovoid. I thought it would be easier if I just did them separately. So here's part two, so to speak. Now, this video, there it is, has a little bit of a mythological theme to it. And in particular, I'll be talking about one of my favourite pantheons, so to speak, and that's the Egyptian one. So, the god here is Thoth, Djehuty, whose name means he who is like an ibis, and you can see in this figurine that he has an ibis head. Now Thoth is the scribe or the counselor to Ra, the sun god. He's also the god of wisdom, magic. He ruled over writing, so he's got a bit of a scribe thing happening here. And he's also connected with the moon. Now the Egyptians had a number of deities associated with the moon, Khonshu or Khushu, and Thoth, and there's a Aya as well. But Thoth is the one that I'm wanting to sort of talk about or focus on at the moment, largely because of his connection with Ra, the sun god. And this myth that I'm going to be telling you or sharing with you actually comes from Lower Egypt, and it's about the Ennead. Ennead is a group of gods that stem basically from Ra. Ra's the first god. Then I don't have statues of the next two, which are Shu and Tefnut. And from Shu and Tefnut came these two. Geb, a little duck on his head, who is the god of the earth, and Nut or Nut, her robe of the stars. She is the goddess of the heavens or the sky, the night sky. And according to the story, Nut and Geb got together and Nut became pregnant. Now Ra was rather angry, and he decreed that Nut would not give birth to her children on any day of the year. Thoth, however, took pity upon Nut, and there's a gambling game that he went off and played with the moon. And from the gambling game he won enough hours of moonlight to equate to 5 days. And he changed the hours of moonlight with his magic to hours of daylight. And the 5 days then fell outside the year of Ra. So Nut was able to bring forth her children. First was Osiris, the only god, green because he's a fertility god, also associated with the undulation of the Nile. Isis, a throne for the pharaohs. Set, who some people think he's an aardvark, god of chaos, also of the desert. And Nepsis, which I don't have in this collection, but Nepsis is deemed as the dark twin of Isis, except for her headdress is different. And in some traditions or versions of the story, there's also a fifth god, Horus. But this is Horus the younger, because he's got the two crowns there, because he united Upper and Lower Egypt. But the Ennead was the story that originated out of Lower Egypt. And when you're looking at Egypt, it's a little bit interesting, because what we term as Lower Egypt is actually the top half, because we're talking about the lower reaches of the Nile, where it goes into the delta out into the Mediterranean. And Upper Egypt is actually the southern part, because that's the higher reaches where the Nile, the Blue and the White Niles originated. So we got Upper and Lower Egypt. And the ruling place of Lower Egypt was Heliopolis, is the Greek name for the town. So that is how, just lost my little statues, Thoth was able to change the timings. And the story continues because Ra originally, was very angry with Thoth for doing that, for going against his word. But he eventually relented and then gave Thoth a place on his evening barge that goes across the skies. So he has Thoth on one side of him, providing him the wisdom, while he has Maat, whose name represents truth, and order on the other side as they go across the heavens. If you have been in Australia in the last 20 years, you might be familiar with these little figurines. They did come up with a set that you could collect, and I have a few of them, about 15 of them, but then for some reason I wasn't able to continue collecting them, so that's why I don't have Nepsis or a few of the others. So, but they're still, they're very, considering about 20 years old, still quite good little figurines. And there's a lot of gods in there, or goddesses as well, that aren't all that well known. And one I want to show you in particular is Susset. And she is like a female scribe to Thoth. So they both have a pen, they both have the papyrus scrolls, but Susset is actually in charge of libraries, or Thoth is the wisdom. So I hope you enjoyed that little story about timing, the moon, and how also the Ennead gods, especially the gods that we're more familiar with today, Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nepsis, came into being. So if you enjoyed that story, please subscribe to my channel. Sounds like I'm begging, but apparently I'm having to do this now. And until we meet again, blessings.